President Donald Trump has just cracked down on Canada, slapping a 35% tariff on Canadian goods starting today, August 1st, 2025. That's a jump from the already stinging 25% tariff he imposed earlier this year. So what's going on here, and why is Canada in the crosshairs? Let's dig in.
If Canada moves forward with recognizing the Palestinian state, is that a deal breaker for you?
Well, we're going to see. I didn't like what they said, but, that's their opinion. I didn't like that. Not a deal breaker, but we haven't spoken to Canada today. He's called, and we'll see. But we have made a few deals today that are excellent deals for the country.
According to the White House fact sheet released last night, Trump is hiking the tariffs on Canada because of what he calls a national emergency tied to the fentanyl crisis. He's pointing the finger at us for being a hub for Mexican cartels running super labs, pumping out fentanyl in rural Western Canada. The fact sheet claims that these labs are churning out 44 to 66 pounds of fentanyl weekly. That's enough to kill millions. It also says fentanyl seizures at the US-Canada border this year have already surpassed the last 3 years combined. Trump's argument is that Canada is not doing enough to stop the flow of illicit drugs. So much for the fentanyl czar that was appointed back in February, who had one job: to stop drugs from crossing the northern US border. Thanks to continuous ineptitude, Trump is hitting us where it hurts: our economy.
2 countries on the whole world retaliated against the United States of America tariffs: China, which we all know, and Canada. So you know what? I just don't see the president stepping off the gas. Now, Mark Carney came down, had a really nice lunch with the president when he first got elected. If he makes that call, and if he starts turning on the charm, and if he takes off his retaliation, and stops the silliness, maybe the president will let it down a bit. But right now, 35%, that letter he sent, is surely in the cards.
While goods under the USMCA trade agreement are exempt, this is otherwise a serious escalation, and it's going to hit Canadian businesses, workers, and families hard. So in jumps Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who's urging the US to reconsider, pointing out that Canada has been a loyal trading partner and that these measures will drive up costs for Americans too.
Folks, we don't have to take a backseat to anyone in the world, and we sure the heck don't have to take a backseat to President Trump. He needs to remember, they're our number one customer, but we're their number one customer. You hear about all these deals he's making, and they're good countries, Japan and Korea. But I'll give you an example. With Japan, he said he made this beautiful deal and everything, and God bless him. But they buy $79 billion worth of products, U.S., off of the U.S. Canada buys $359 billion U.S. off the folks south of the border. 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce a widget or a good just for Ontario alone. Those 9 million jobs are in jeopardy right now. We buy more products off the U.S. than Japan, Korea, China, the UK, and France combined. So I wouldn't roll over, and I've told the Prime Minister, do not roll over, hit that guy back as hard as we possibly can, and that's what we need to do, and we can do it. We can build anything here in Canada, absolutely anything.
Ford is essentially saying, we're not the bad guys here, and this isn't how you treat allies, instead of saying anything about how ridiculously porous our borders really are, ignoring unmitigated immigration, drug trafficking, and organized crime. Why isn't Doug Ford calling out Mark Carney, his Muskoka vacation cuddle buddy, who's apparently too busy whispering sweet nothings past midnight to actually do something about this border crisis?
Okay, so full disclosure, Prime Minister stayed at my place. We had dinner. We were up till 12:30 at night, chatting in front of the fireplace, solving all the world's problems.
And he's got a very nice small chalet.
Yeah. I have a little shack up down the street there. And do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm telling you. I haven't known him for long, but the Prime Minister is the most humble person you'd ever want to meet.
You can't rein in Trump, but why not slam Carney for sitting on his hands while cartels and smugglers run rampant? Meanwhile, the British Columbia RCMP has been given a proposed 2% budget cut over the next 3 years, while the area is ripe with transnational organized crime, such as fentanyl production and cross-border smuggling. Conservative MLA Eleanor Sturko called it out, saying there's no point appointing a fentanyl czar if you're not going to make sure that the police have every available tool to combat the problem of drug trafficking and other criminal activity that's occurring within the borders of our country. So clearly they can handle the problems of the border, but Carney cut the RCMP budget while upping the CBC budget by $42 million to $1.4 billion annually. My colleagues Alexa Lavoie and Lincoln Jay have been on the ground exposing this crisis firsthand. Stationed in Champlain, New York and Franklin, Quebec, they've uncovered how organized criminal networks exploit open borders, smuggling illegal migrants, and raking in massive profits. So what is the RCMP doing? Well, they have the same trail cameras set up as Lavoie and Jay. Actually, they arguably have better quality, and still this issue persists. Perhaps they're too busy getting stuck in the ditch, as our drone footage clearly shows, than to take decisive action and shut down these criminal smuggling networks for good. Now, let's get real for a moment, because the opioid crisis is devastating. Nobody's denying that. Fentanyl is a scourge, and cartels setting up shop in Canada is a problem that needs to be tackled head on. What did we expect when we flung open the borders, handed illegal immigrants free hotel stays and taxpayer-funded services, and then allowed our justice system to falter under soft-on-crime liberal policies? And let's not forget, the US has its own role in this crisis. Demand drives supply, and America's appetite for these drugs isn't exactly shrinking. Pointing fingers at Canada while ignoring the bigger picture isn't a solution. It's politics. But what's more is that these tariffs aren't just about drugs. They're a blow to our economy. Canadian exporters, from manufacturers to farmers, are about to feel this squeeze. Prices will go up, jobs will be at risk, and consumers on both sides of the border will pay more. Trump's fact sheet talks about putting America first, but punishing a key ally like Canada doesn't exactly scream teamwork to me. Ford's right to push back, but we need more than just posts on social media. We need Ottawa to step up and do something. Mass deportations, stronger border enforcement, and a real crackdown on the cartels fueling this crisis. Canada needs to get serious about border security and drug trafficking. There's no question about it. And it's high time we show some backbone, work with our neighbors, and protect our people. Trump's spotlight on Canada's role in the fentanyl crisis is forcing us to face the ugly truth about our porous borders and the urgent need to stem the tide of criminality. Instead of taking summer recess and sipping cocktails by the lake, Carney needs to crack down on cartels and secure our borders now. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. As President Donald Trump prepares mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, Rebel News has been uncovering the truth about Canada's readiness, or lack thereof, and the realities of illegal border crossings. To support the continued investigation into this crisis and see more reports on this file, please head to guardtheborder.com. That's guardtheborder.com.